morning students. So today we're going to solve question 22 from GATE CSE 2024 set 1. The question states that which one of the following statements about a relation R in a first normal form 1NF is R true, right? So first of all, what does first NF means? First NF is basically first normal form that, and it deals with the restriction that the attributes inside of suppose this is an attribute inside of a table. Attribute meaning, suppose this table, this relation is regarding a person, right? And this person has a name. This is a name attribute, has an age, has phone number, right? So 1NF states this phone number cannot have multiple values. It cannot have multiple values. I mean, for example, you cannot store two phone numbers here, right? That is not possible. If you were to do that, then this relation, this table would not be in first normal form, right? This is what first normal form as a restriction imposes upon your relations, right? Now let's come back to the question. This is the only restriction, more or less. Which one of the following statements about a relation R in first normal form 1NF is R true, right? Okay, let's come here. R can have multi-attribute key. What does a key mean? Suppose there are a lot of entries inside of this table. Now, a collection of attributes, not just this three, suppose there are n number of attributes, this number of attributes are present. So a collection of these attributes, when taken with the data that is present inside of it, this collection uniquely identifies a single record, right? That is what we call a key. This is the concept of a key. So can it have a multi-attribute key? Obviously it can have a multi-attribute key. There is no restriction on this. So this statement is true. But mind, this is important, that it is a question with is R present. That means that multiple answers can be correct. Now this is not MCQ, this is MSQ, right? Multiple select question. Now let's come to B. R cannot have a foreign key. There is no restriction upon foreign key. So this statement is false. It states that foreign key cannot be used, but first normal form does not state that a foreign key cannot be used. So this statement is false. Third statement, R cannot have a composite attribute, right? Composite attribute means what? An attribute which can have multiple values. Oh, okay, composite basically means a slightly different thing. Suppose, for example, there is this name. Let's take this name here. Now this name can have two values. First is your first name and your second name, right? So now suppose, for example, that inside of this only every record has a first name and a second name. That is not possible. Either you have first name and second name, but you cannot have two values inside of this, right? Does not matter if it is even in a composite format, but it is still multiple values that you are storing inside of a single attribute. That is not possible. So C statement that R cannot have a composite attribute, is actually true. D states that R cannot have more than one candidate keys. Now that is false. Why is it false? Because candidate key basically means that a particular candidate key is a key. I mean, it will uniquely identify a record, but candidate means with a minimum number of attributes. Suppose that in this table with all these attributes present, right? Suppose that these three are able to uniquely identify the records, and there are no two keys in the whole, no pair of keys. I mean, you take this and this, and that pair would be able to uniquely identify. There are no such pairs present. So these three are going to become a candidate key because 3 is the minimum number of attributes that are required. But these three could also uniquely identify a record, right? Both of these would become candidate keys in this regard because both of them has 3 number of attributes. So a relation can have multiple candidate keys, right? So what D states is R cannot have more than one candidate key. So this is a false statement because R can have multiple candidate keys. I have demonstrated how it can have, right? So this is a false statement. So the answer for this question is A and C. Hope you like the video. Thanks for watching.